on a podcast called Dub Jellison Podcast.
Hey, you know how it is, Dub. Hey,
when I was like, this is kind of real, like, holy shit.
Hey, all right, I was one of the chosen ones. Like, that's a career night. Like,
never have you failed if you played it right.
And I'm just blessed to.
Thought it was my time to shine.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. What's up?
Not too much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, getting up early.
Of course, man. No problem.
So what you been up to?
Man, had a busy weekend. Went out to Vegas with the wife, did a little couples trip. Went to go see Usher perform. It was incredible. I got back yesterday morning, though, just in time to watch the games, of course. And yeah, man, it's Monday. So, we'll be heading up to the studio later to work on our show and back to the grind.
Yes, sir. I went and saw Kevin Hart here in Indy last night.
Nice. How was it? Was it a good performance?
Yeah. Fire.
Good. Yeah, Kevin Hart typically he puts on good performance, great performances, I would say. So I'm not surprised.
It was crazy because his dad died last week.
Yeah. He
turned around and flipped like 20 minutes of his set on his dad.
Really?
It was incredible.
To be able to do that, it's crazy how these comedians or just even other artists, whether it's music, comedy, acting, whatever, how they're able to take their emotional trauma and things like that and kind of use it for their art. Like he's probably using that as a way to vent. You know what I'm saying? And like his way to kind of connect with his dad through his actual work, which is a beautiful thing. So that's cool, man.
Yeah, it was great. I've never seen, like, I saw Theo Von one time perform.
Okay, yeah.
That's the first like arena tour comedy I've ever been to. It was crazy.
Yeah, man.
I'm
just trying to get the tour.
Because I went up, or we were like kind of, I mean, not high up, but like it was in Banker's Life.
Got you. Yep.
So we're in like the upper section. I mean, you still see everything, but like seeing everybody when he came out it was crazy. It's something I'd never seen before.
I bet. And did they take all your phones away before you came in? Oh, okay. I already knew. I get it.
I didn't think about that. And then we got there, we were like scanning our tickets or whatever. They're like, all right, put your phone in here. I was like, damn it.
Yeah. I understand it though, because it's like he says the same jokes pretty much each place he goes. So it's like, well, if you're recording everything, then other people are going to see it, and it won't have the same impact. So I understand that.
Yeah, I get it. I just wanted to take one picture.
A memory. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take one picture of the stage. But yeah. But yeah, dude, our Colts yesterday.
Man, no, I definitely was very, very disappointed for sure, man. So I'm not like giving up. I mean, I'll save it for the podcast, so I don't want to give it away too much. But.
Hey, we're rolling.
We're rolling right now. Yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't know if we were live right now or what. So, but yeah, no, tough loss. I mean, 10-19. It's one of those games though, man, where it was a very winnable game.
1,000%.
So those games frighten me more than anything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, I think you went out for a hot second, but yeah, this is one of those games. It was a very winnable game, and those games are the ones that frustrate me the most because it's like, man, you take away one or two mistakes, it's an entire new ball game. I mean, literally, man, I went back this morning to kind of rewatch over the game and just kind of have my mind fresh on point for the podcast, and literally, man, it was the tale of two halves. The first half, we didn't score any points. It was 13-0. Matt Ryan had a horrible first half, threw two picks, one of which was a pick six, which is the only touchdown that the Titans got all game. Then the other interception led to a field goal. So that's literally 10 points that, we basically gave to them, where in both drives, I believe we were in field goal range for both of those drives. So, of course, I mean, we could have missed two field goals, but McLaughlin is a good-ass kicker this season. He's been knocking them in. So I would like to assume that we would have made at least one of the field goals. I mean, I think that's a safe assumption. So you think about that, like that's like a 13-point whatever, like turnaround in a sense. We gave them 10. We knocked off the board at least 3, possibly 6. So that's 13 to 16-point turnaround, and that was the ball game. Second half, we played well. Matt Ryan played a lot better, had a nice drive down the field, threw a touchdown to Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell, by the way, that was the highlight of the of the game for me. If I had to point out one positive, Paris Campbell did ball out, and he's a very talented guy out of Ohio State. I've been waiting for him to have one of these games, so I was so excited to see him finally, come out, ball out, and have one of those games. It's a great sign for us down the road. But it was like too little, too late. The defense played lights out. We didn't let off any touchdowns, all field goals. What more can you ask for in today's offensive-driven game to allow a team only nothing but field goals? So, I mean, I got to put this one on Matt Ryan, and I gave him a lot of praise last week. He threw for like 389, 3 touchdowns. We got the win. Amazing game. And then this one was like complete opposite. So I'm frustrated, but I'm not like down and out on the Colts. It's not, I didn't leave that game feeling like, oh man, we can't beat the Titans. The Titans are just too good. It's like, no, we shot ourselves in the foot. Those were 2 unforced interceptions. It wasn't like he was getting rushed. He tried to force 2 passes. It was bad, horrible decisions. And that was the difference in the game.
Yeah. I mean, you put it great. I can't add much more, but like the defense have been playing well. Like, I don't know how many points we gave up last week against Jacksonville, but the week before, only gave up 9 against the Broncos. Granted, that offense has looked awful this year, but then you only give up essentially 12 against the Titans. I thought they kept Derrick Henry in check really well.
Yeah.
He had 30 rushes for like 128, I think, but like his biggest run was that 23-yarder at the end of the game where, the game was over anyway.
Right.
They kept him in check for 99% of the game, and then I don't know what they need to do with Matt Ryan and he did get pressured a lot more yesterday than he did in the Jacksonville game, but those two, he's turned into what we thought Carson Wentz was last year. He's been
strong.
Obviously he's been a lot worse. He's leading the league in fumbles and interceptions. But like Carson, yes, Carson he only had 7 picks last year. He probably should have had more. Probably should have had more, like 12, 13 maybe.
Right.
We'd have to go back and look at the tape or whatever, how many balls got dropped. But he didn't play that bad compared to how Matt Ryan is right now. And everyone was like, oh, he's just he could throw for 400 like he did against the Ravens, and then the next week he could play like he did against the Jags. But that's exactly what Matt Ryan's been doing.
Right. No, for sure. And let me chime in here. I agree. You look at Carson Wentz's stats overall. I think he had 27 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, and like 7 interceptions. So, like, if you look at his stats, he had a pretty good year last year. My problem with Carson Wentz is when you need him the most, he shows up the least. And the biggest moments is when he plays the lowest. And those, as a quarterback, you want to be your franchise quarterback, those are moments when we really need you. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of the greats. You think about the Bradys of the world, the Aaron Rodgers of the world. I know they're both playing kind of bad right now in this season, but overall in their careers, when it mattered the most, man, those guys, they make big plays, whether it's a 2-minute drive to win a game, or it's a driving it down to kick a field goal, whatever the case may be. We need them the most. They show up the most. And that was my biggest problem with Carson Wentz. He has all the skills in the world. He's strong. He's fast. He has a big arm, but he just, I don't know, something about big moments where it does something to him, and he doesn't perform well, So, yeah, overall, though, you look at the stats and stuff. He's on pace to look a lot better than what Matt Ryan has shown to this point. Now, the one pass I give Matt Ryan is the first few weeks, man, our offensive line was horrible. Yeah. Like we kept trying to move rotations around and trying to find ways, and he just was getting hit like time after time. And we've looked a little better these last 2 weeks, but like you said, he still got pressured a lot, yesterday. But it wasn't as bad, in my opinion, as the first few weeks where he was just getting clobbered, and he's an older guy, so I was feeling kind of bad for him after a while. But yeah, the fumbles, it's like, listen, you got to be better when it comes to fumbles, and then unforced interceptions. You got, like, you're a veteran quarterback, Matt Ryan. He's very smart, knows the game. I understand mistakes happen, but 2 back-to-back interceptions, and again, they were both horrible decisions. Forced throws. I would just throw it out, live to fight another day. I think in his mind, he's just trying to make something happen. You know what I'm saying? At the time, the Colts had 0 points on the board. He's like, man, we got to get some offense going. I'm the quarterback. So I understand the mindset, But sometimes, man, that ends up leading to worse scenarios. And I hate to blame the game on one player, because as the former football player, I know there's so many situations, so many plays, and so many things you could point at, even on defense, where you're like, okay, well, they shouldn't even got down to field goal range to kick a field goal because you guys made a mistake earlier in the drive that led to that point. So there's things you can point out. But overall, man, I mean, you got to call a spade. And the two biggest plays of that ball game was in that second quarter. Those two picks. I mean, again, it went straight to – it was 10 points, literally 10 points. We lost. It was 10-19. You take away those 10 points, come on now, 10-9. And that's assuming we don't make either of the field goals that we were in field goal range for. So, it's one of those things. And, yeah, man, but again, overall, man, I don't know if it's just me just being a fan and I'm just trying to stay hopeful, but the Colts have too much talent on that roster and on that team to not be way better than this. Yeah. Is what I'm saying, And even with that being said, we're 3-4-1, which is really right around the middle to the upward side of the pack in terms of the entire NFL. It's been a very strange season. I don't know what's going on. There's been a lot of bad football across the entire league. Outside of like 4 teams, it's really kind of up in the air. You know what I'm saying? As far as like each week, I have no clue what's gonna happen with any team. Like if you're a gambler, this is not the season to gamble. Because you really have no idea who's going to show up, who's going to win, how they're going to look. It's really up in the air. So I'm still hopeful, but this was a tough one though. Because now we're down 2 games behind Tennessee. So more than likely, unless something crazy happens, we're probably not going to win the AFC South, and it's going to be tough for 2 teams to make it to the playoffs out of the AFC South. So we're either going to just have to cross our fingers and hope Tennessee kind of just goes on a losing streak here and allows us to catch up, or we better start balling out the rest of this season. And I will say this: I do believe the Colts do have one of the easier schedules remaining for the rest of the season. I have to go back and look, but if my memory serves me correct, I'm pretty sure the rest of their schedule isn't too tough. It's very winnable game, so it's possible that we could go on a crazy winning streak and make things interesting. But yeah, definitely a disappointing loss. And all the Tennessee Titans fans have been grilling me on Twitter. I made a video last week. I was talking a little trash. That's what I do when the Colts win. I was feeling good, and my coach let me down. So Tennessee fans, hey, go ahead and have fun. Stay in my mentions, talk trash. I deserve it. My team lost, so go ahead and go at it.
Shoot, I mean, when you and I were growing up, Peyton was dominating the Titans, and then Andrew Luck was dominating the Titans. Now it's weird because, like you mentioned, the AFC South is probably the worst division in football. The Colts are 3-1 in the division right now. Yeah. They got 1 game left against the Texans. I think that's last game of the season. So you got to bank on winning that one,
right?
If nothing else. But my issue goes deeper than Matt Ryan. I did want to bring up a stat though about Carson Wentz before I forgot it. When the Colts traded him, I looked up like some of the other guys that they were talking, like Derek Carr and Jimmy G, and Matt Ryan kind of came out of nowhere, honestly. But Carson Wentz had 0 game-winning touchdown drives in 2020 and 2021. I think he has a couple now, but like that's what they needed, and Matt Ryan's been able to do that a few times. So you got to give him credit there. But yeah, I mean, my issues kind of go with Ballard, and I've been a guy that doesn't really call for people's jobs and things like that. But in year 6, you got to show something. You can't be middle of the pack. I think heading into this week, the Colts were the 7th seed in the playoffs.
Yep,
where they stood.
Yep, I think that's true. Yep.
Now like you mentioned, you don't know how the NFL is going to go. I mean, the Jets are out here killing it. The Bills are the Bills. The Chiefs, obviously, even though the Colts beat them, that was kind of the Colts are kind of their kryptonite in a weird way.
I know, right? Yeah, that's what I say. Every team has like for us, it's the Jags in Jacksonville. For whatever reason, we just struggle in Jacksonville, So it just for the Chiefs, yeah, we are like that weird matchup for them. For whatever reason, they beat us sometimes, but if you look at our overall record, we typically have success against the Chiefs for whatever reason.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, I mean, the AFC is a gauntlet too. With all the even you can't forget about the Chargers. I know they just lost. I know they just lost yesterday, but they're going to be up there. I mean, the Broncos maybe if they can turn it around. Who else?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness, the Bengals looked good yesterday. You got the Ravens. I mean, it's not looking good for the Colts. And I think Ballard and Reich are going to be the ones to pay.
Man.
Here come the end of the year.
I do. I don't know about Ballard for sure. You might be right. You know, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Frank Wright, if we miss the playoffs again, I think it's curtains. I think it's a wrap for him. So like I said, the only thing that's keeping me like positive is that the fact that this is a weird season, and the fact that there's a lot of teams that right now that are like 3-4, 4-3, like 2-5. You know, there's a lot of teams in that weird middle of the pack window to where it's like, all right, it's not just us. It's not like it's just the Colts. You know, what's the saying? Misery loves company, right? So it's not like the Colts are not just miserable by themselves. They have a lot of teams in the league right around that middle of the pack. So I think it's gonna come down to which teams go on that run. You know what I'm saying? At some point in the season, that's gonna be the difference. That's gonna be the separation between who's in and who's out. So the Colts are gonna have to go on a run here soon, middle of the playoffs. And or middle of the season, excuse me, in order to really have a chance at making the playoffs. And I do think it's possible. You know, when the Colts play well in games, like they look really good. It's just that they're inconsistent. You know, even yesterday, the second half wasn't horrible. It was solid. It wasn't like amazing, like, oh my gosh, but it was a solid second half. You know, we had a nice drive that led to a touchdown. Matt Ryan didn't make really any major mistakes. Again, defense looked good. Like we beat Tennessee in the second half, you know what I'm saying? But the first half, we gave them too much. We didn't put up any points at all, and that was the ball game. Literally the tale of two. It was like two games. So, you know, but when we're good, we're good. And I'm so glad that we got JT back. You know, I think he had like 7 catches. He only had 10 carries, which, you know, I understand we were down, so we were trying to get, drive down the field. And some of those carries, instead of handing the ball, we kind of threw it to him. So it's kind of like a rush, but it's on the count as a catch. But I would like to see him as he builds back into game shape. I want to see him getting back to like 20 plus carries because he's a workhorse. And I don't care what type of season you think he's having. I don't care what type of game you think he's having. Keep giving the ball, and at some point, good things are going to happen. Yesterday, he averaged, I think, 5.8 yards per carry, almost 6 yards a carry. So I'm like, man, keep feeding the beast. That's every two carries he's getting a first down. Keep feeding the beast. You know what I'm saying? So I like what I saw out of him. I want us to give him the ball more, and let's really get back to riding him in these games. I think we have to be a great running team, great defensive team, and we make plays in the air when we need to. I don't want to put all the pressure on Matt Ryan. He's an older QB. Our O-line is not the greatest. You know, we're a little better now. We move some parts around. We look stronger. But at the end of the day, I don't have full trust in the offensive line to protect Matt Ryan. So we have to become a dominant running team, leaning on JT, leaning on that defense, and Matt Ryan just makes plays when we need him to make plays. And that's the formula for success for the Colts.
And even last week, Deion Jackson had a really good game, rushing the ball and those little, like you mentioned, extensions of the run play, or of the run game, excuse me, with those little swing passes and things like that. JT's he's just impressive because like there was several times where he was like bottled up, he had nowhere to go, and then he just finds a hole at the last second and gets 6-7 yards.
Yep. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what makes a running back great. It's not always about the big flashy plays. It's like, man, the times you got 2 to 3 yards when you should have lost 2 to 3 yards. Those are that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? It was was it, I think, third quarter when we went for it. So it was a third and short or whatever the case may be. He caught the ball on the swing pass, should have lost 2 yards, ended up falling forward. I think he got at least 1 yard. Kept us in position to go for it on fourth down, and then Michael Pittman Jr. made a big time, elevated high catch and to keep the drive going, and then we end up scoring a touchdown. So it's those little plays like that where it's not a highlight. The average fan won't understand or see how big it is, but just little things like that, man. And I think now that we have them back, start really getting them back into the groove of things. that's going to be huge for our offense.
No doubt. And I think, I mean, they're still 500. So it's not like I kind of give Reich the benefit of the doubt just because that one year they were 1-5, ended up damn near running the table, making the playoffs. So anything's possible, especially like we've kind of talked about with this crazy NFL year. But I want to get back to you. I've been following you for quite a while. You're doing some awesome things. How'd you get your start in sports media?
Yeah, man. Good question. I have a very, interesting, I guess, story of how it happened. I didn't go to school for like broadcasting or journalism. I have a business degree in marketing. So coming out of school at Ball State, I got a sales job. I was inside sales, cold calling on the phone, things like that. Pretty good job, but it was definitely not sports. It wasn't what I was used to, So myself and one of my co-workers, who was also, a teammate and a friend of mine at Ball State, my guy Brian Jones, his nickname's Bolo. So my guy Bolo, we was like, look, you know what? Let's start a podcast just to kind of have like some type of outlet away from the everyday job. And at the time, we didn't know. This is like 2018. We didn't know what we were doing. At the time, I had no really experience when it comes to video editing and just anything. We just wanted to talk and just get away and kind of get back involved in sports and stuff that we care about. So we started this podcast called The Porch, and it was just for fun. It was no business plan behind it. Really, it was just like two guys just, talking about sports, culture, or whatever. And, we started posting it like every single week. And, just through connections, through, networking, so to speak, there was a famous alum who had went to Ball State, who at the time was working at Fox Sports, and he followed me on Twitter. And he had saw that I was doing a podcast, and he just kind of reached out, was like, "Hey, see, you're doing like a sports podcast. Like, would you be into production at all?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Like why? Why are you asking? What's up? So, had a couple conversations with him, and then ended up getting my name and getting my resume in the mix for a possible position at Fox. So I had like 4 or 5 phone interviews, man. And I had to fix my resume around to make it look more like, production and wise and sportsy, whatever the case may be. And I was ended up blessed with the position. So I literally put my 2 weeks notice in, packed my bag. I left my girl back in Indy at the time and came out here by myself, and no furniture, nothing. I'm literally out here in LA. Cost of living is like times 3 more than what Indy is. And I'm out here sleeping on the floor in my apartment. And I'm as happy as I can be. I'm nervous, I'm scared, but I'm happy as hell because it's like it's a breath of fresh air. A guy from Indy moving out to LA, working at Fox Sports, like that's like it's like a movie. I mean, you're from Indy, so you understand. Like we don't necessarily see those type of opportunities a lot. So, so that's how I got my foot in the door, man. And initially, when I got hired, it was just to be social media producer. Which is what I still do now. That's my main job at Fox. I work on the show used to be called Speak for Yourself. It's now called Speak. And my main job is to promote the show on social media. As simple. So I'm on Photoshop. I'm on Premiere. I'm editing clips. I'm posting out the best stuff from each show. Coming up with creative, fun ideas on TikTok and IG. Just any fun way I can promote the show is what I'm doing on social media. So that's been my main job. That's what I still do today. But there was like a 2-year period when I first started where I actually was on air on the show. I had my own segment called Darnell's Question of the Day, where basically I bring some random question. A lot of times it was sports related to the show, and I would kind of introduce it to the desk of the guys at the desk, and we would have just a conversation. Sometimes it would be just real simple. I set up the question, I toss it to them, I let them discuss. Sometimes they would bring me in. It's more so of a back and forth. And it was fun. I mean, it was Darnell's Question of the Day, and I had another segment called Anti-Social, where it's a little bit more fun, interactive, where I just kind of bring fun tweets and stuff that I see from online, that's related to sports, and we have some fun with it. And that was really how I got my foot in the door, man. I met a lot of awesome people who I grew up watching on TV, playing on the Madden with and stuff like that. And that's led to so many other hosting opportunities outside of Fox that I've been doing the last like year and a half. So crazy story, man. I'm still early in my career, but man, it's been a blessing. I mean, I think about my life, man. It's really truly been a blessing. You asked me 5 years ago where I would be. There's no way in hell I would say I'd be in LA working at Fox Sports and having the type of friends and relationships that I have with some of these athletes, entertainers, etc. So it's been crazy.
Dude, I love that. I love that so much. That's awesome. Because I
Appreciate
mean, a lot of people don't know about the grind, and that's something I wanted to talk about. Because when you talk about sleeping on the floor, going out there by yourself, you leave your girl at home. I mean, that's scary stuff. That's scary
It
stuff.
is.
People, because I mean, that's just how we're wired, but nobody really likes change.
Yeah.
And you uprooted your life and you took a chance and said, screw it. Now you're balling.
I appreciate it, man. It's just, and everyone has their own beliefs, stuff like that. So I'm not trying to pull anyone, either way, but I am a faith-based person. I do believe in God. I do believe things happen for a reason. And just the opportunity just came up so randomly. I just felt like it was like he was talking to me. Like, it just felt like I should make this decision. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's just like it was a feeling I had. I wasn't really happy with my job at the time. No fault towards the company, great owner. Like, it was a really good company. It was just internal. It just wasn't, I wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? I was gaining so much weight. I'm just sitting down in this office. I'm like one of the hardest working people here, but my sales isn't correlating to the work. So I'm getting frustrated. And it's like, man, I'm missing the game. And it's like, man, so when the opportunity came, I'm like, LA, Fox Sports. Like, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I grew up poor. I didn't have much. Like, the fact that I'm even like, I'm in LA and I've been out here for about almost 5 years now. And I still have moments where I'm driving on the highway. I'm in like an hour long of traffic, but I don't even care. I'm just looking at the palm trees. Like, man, I'm really living life out here, and I'm having success. Like, I'm doing pretty well. I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm very goal driven. I have huge aspirations, but I'm at a good spot right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing good. I'm living pretty solid. I'm maintaining, and it's like, wow, 5 years ago when I first moved out here, I had no idea how this was gonna go. No idea how this is gonna go, but made a way, and it's been good.
Yeah, I love hearing about, especially me now where I'm at. I love hearing people's stories of how they got in and their kind of past, because I feel like a lot of people like you and me, we have weird little things that it just happened to happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for me, I started listening to the Joe Rogan Experience. I know he's a very controversial guy now.
It's all good, yeah.
But back when I started listening, he really wasn't. And I was like, hey, I kind of want to start a podcast. So I started one in 2019.
Gotcha.
And I was like, yeah, I just had my friends on and we were just talking, whatever. The best thing that's ever happened to me, as sad as it is to say, was COVID. It forced me to start reaching out to people. Got my first athlete on the podcast. Dude, I still talk to monthly now. And then, like you talked about with all the connections and the relationships, that's my favorite part. There's guys that, I don't know how familiar you are with Purdue sports, but Rafael Davis and Lewis Jackson, those are two of my guys. I've had them both on the podcast like 4 or 5 times. I talk to Rafael weekly, sometimes a few times a week, and it's just crazy. And it's turned into so many different things, so many opportunities. I got and I kind of fell into it because kind of backtracking. So I graduated from Purdue in August. I originally went there. I wanted to be a teacher. I got there. I was like, yeah. So like when I applied, they were like, if you don't really know what you want to do, like apply as a teacher, you can get in easier. I was like, all right, bet, say less.
Gotcha.
But so I did that. My GPA wasn't that good. So I did that. And between that time, I was like, I kind of want to get into like physical therapy, athletic training, something like that. Absolutely bombed my first semester. Failed 4 classes. I got a D in the other one.
Yeah.
The only one I passed was a speech class, like 100 level speech class. So I was like, well, can't do athletic training anymore. And I was sitting there. I had no major for like the next year, and I didn't know what I was doing. I finally switched my major, reached out to a guy by the name of Travis Miller, who I owe a lot to. He's given me so much. Started writing for a Purdue sports blog, and that was the start of my journey. It's been crazy.
Wow, man. No, I love to hear. Like, a lot of times, man, some of the greatest things that happen in your life just kind of arrive. Like, it wasn't planned. It wasn't, it wasn't part of your actual, notes at night in your journal that you wrote. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of happened. It appeared, but when it happens, like I said, it's a feeling. Like, man, this feels right. You know what I'm saying? So now that kudos to you to understanding that feeling and going with it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad to see you're still grinding. I love to see people back from the city, from Indies, who's trying new things. You know what I'm saying? So often you see, people just go the typical path, and which is totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. I just like to see people from our city kind of believe in themselves more and go off on the limb, start a new business, start that podcast, try to, interview for that crazy job that people may think is you won't get or unlikely, because you just never know. You never know what God has planned for you or what's in line for your journey. So I kudos to you, man, for going out and doing it and still be doing it. I wish you nothing but success on this podcast. And yeah, man, no, it's dope to hear.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, people from Indy, we don't have anybody really in sports media or out there doing, like, we don't have a Drake or someone like of that level, like
right.
super stardom of like, okay, this is possible. Like we got like Sage Steele and Whitlock. He's from India.
Yep.
I mean, those are the only two off the top of my head that are like in the industry. So kids now growing up, they're not. I mean, those people aren't coming back and talking to certain schools. You know what I mean? Like you don't see someone that was in your same shoes, went to your same school, high school, whatever. You don't see them on TV and be like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Hopefully now it's like someone like yourself or someone like me, we can be that for people.
Right. Now, hey, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Like I said, growing up, I just didn't see this as a reality. It wasn't that, like, I think everybody at some point, as a kid, you want to be on TV just because it just seems cool. Whether it's because you're playing sports, you're talking, whatever it is, like at some point, I think kids all want to be on TV at some point, you know what I'm saying? But I never thought about doing it at this level. But it's funny, like I always look back and like kind of look at my journey. And I think back in high school. So I went to Warren Central, and I think back in my high school, like we have something called like the morning announcements, where we, each room has their own TV, and it's just student led, and you have different announcements for the school. So every Friday, I think this is my senior year, we had like our little a show called Warrior Warpath, where it's like it's kind of like a show to get you hyped for the Friday night game that day. And I was the host for it, but it was just all fun. And I have to reach out to my school, see if we have some old clips, because I've been wanting to see those. But it's funny that in hindsight, I look back, I'm like, damn, like I've been doing this a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing it to a lesser degree, but it's kind of been in my calling. And yeah, it's funny. I wish if I knew what I knew now, if I knew I would end up here, I would have did way more training. In high school, but definitely at Ball State. Ball State has a great telecommunications program. I mean, obviously David Letterman went to Ball State. So we have the David Letterman building where our media team there is just dope. Like, it's amazing. I could have learned a lot there. But again, this was never, it just wasn't realistic to me. Like being on TV was like, okay, like sure, like I could, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a positive guy. So I always think about, the glass is half full. I always think that there's a will, there's a way, but it just, sometimes you got to just, try to be real, so to speak. And at that time, my reality wasn't to be on TV. I was like, listen, I'm going to give me a business degree. A business degree is broad. I can get good jobs from there, But at the time, I'm going to be honest, when I was in college, I'm thinking NFL. Like, I was like, I'm not even, like, my grades have always been pretty good. So I'm like, school will take care of itself. I'm going to the NFL. I'm not even about to worry about any of this. So obviously that didn't happen. So when reality hit, it was like, man, I got to figure out a way to just get back to being me and being happy, and moving out here and working at Fox Sports has allowed me to be back like to Darnell. I've always been a high energy guy. I've always been the guy that makes people laugh and fun, and just, and being in the office job with my button up shirt tucked in with the belt and stuff. It's cool, but it just wasn't for me. I'm a hoodie and jeans, and I'm comfortable at work. I'm casual. Like, that's who I am. I don't like being all super corporate, that's just not who I am. So I'm glad I'm at a position where I can be me. It feels great.
That's special, dude. Because I mean, you look around, you just talk to people, like if you go back to a high school reunion or something like that, you talk to some people, they don't want to be where they're at. They're not content with whatever job, whether it be in sales or business, or they're a lawyer. They're like, yeah, I want to go do this though. And
Right.
you're out there living that.
Yeah, man. And like I said, my one message to anyone who's listening in is just take that chance, take that risk, because like, why not? Literally, why not? Half the times we don't take risks because we make up some type of fear that we bring upon ourselves, or fear that maybe other people who are close to you bring upon you. You might tell a friend or family member something that you believe in or something you're interested in, and because they're insecure about themselves, they pour on their insecurities onto you. So now you're like, man, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I shouldn't do this. But you literally don't know unless you try. Like, and for me, my mindset is like, just try it, because like the worst case scenario is you try it, it doesn't work, and okay, you're in the same spot you was before. So like, just try it. You have a dream, a passion, whatever it is, just try it, and actually put the real work in. When I say try it, I mean like really put the work in, do the research, do whatever it is you need to do to put yourself in a realistic position. But actually try, especially if you're still like in your 20s and you're younger. Even if you're in your 30s, depending on your life and what you got going on, if you're married, you got kids, I understand that the more responsibilities, the less sacrifice you probably can fully make. Yeah. But man, we got a lot of people who's still young. I'm only 28. So a lot of people, I'm married, but I don't have any kids yet. So I'm like, I'm in a position where I'm ready to grind. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to take chances. I'm ready to invest in myself. If I got to spend a couple $1,000 to invest in myself to do something, I'll do it. Like, you gotta go out there and do it, because if you don't, you'll just live an average life, which again is fine, but you can't be mad if you aren't moving in the way that you want them to move, if you're not taking those risks. Like, you can't have both sides. You can't be upset that you're not where you want to be, but you're not even taking the risk to be where you want to be. Or you're not putting in the work to be where you want to be. It doesn't make any sense. Like, things are not going to just magically appear. Even when opportunities come, when they come knocking your door, when I got that call, I got that message that, hey, would you be interested in Fox Sports? I had to have the confidence to go take it. Not only the confidence, I had to put in the work when I got the job to actually learn how to become a great social media producer. I had to learn the skill set. I had to understand the show. Then I got on air. I had to learn how to be confident and comfortable enough to excel in my role. Then each thing is a stepping stone. Even when you get opportunities to come out of nowhere, you still have to put the work in to really expand and maximize that opportunity. Otherwise, it'll come and go, and you'll look back like, damn, I had the opportunity of my life and I missed it because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I made excuses. The reason I didn't do this is because X, Y, and Z. Like, we all got an excuse. We all go through stuff. We've all grown up, had our trials, our tribulations. We can all make an excuse of why we're not here. I don't live by excuses. I live by solutions. All right, I understand that happened. What are you going to do about it? That's where I'm at. I understand, and I respect what you went through, whatever that is. With that being said, what are you going to do about it? Because at the end of the day, you still got to wake up. The sun's going to still come out. People gonna still go to work every day. The world's gonna keep moving with or without you. So you either nut up or shut up. Basically, what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And I know that sounds harsh, and I'm not trying to come off as harsh, because listen, I go through stuff. I have my days, my moments where I feel sorry for myself and all that. But at the end of the day, the world's gonna keep going. And one thing that one of my coaches at Ball State told me that always stuck with me is that I'm not gonna say the X-rated version, but nobody cares. Basically, is what he said. Nobody cares. Whatever you're going through, the world does not care. So you figure it out, and that's been my life. I'm just figuring stuff out. I'm taking chances. I'm not letting nobody stop me. I'm on a path for greatness. I believe in myself, and that's how I think everybody has to live their life.
Yeah, I mean, take that chance to figure it all out later. That's kind of how I look at it. Because, I mean, like you didn't have any expertise or training in social media and how to do all that stuff. When I started, I'd never written an article in my life. I reached out to this dude through email And he said, yeah, you can come do women's basketball for us. I said, screw it. Go and research for like 2 whole days about Purdue basketball and all that type of stuff. You just got to take the chance and jump on them. Because there's a ton of people, especially if you get a chance to talk to older people that didn't take advantage of some of those opportunities that they could have jumped on. I mean, they live with regret. They think about that when they're 80 years old, retired, sitting on the couch in their rocking chair, whatever they're doing. I mean, they still think about those moments where life could have been so much different. It could have been so much better, maybe. And they just didn't take advantage of it.
100%, man. Like I said, hey, take that chance. Take that chance. And not to do a plug here, but I do have my own clothing brand. It's called Live for the Day. I'm wearing a hoodie right now, man. And that's part of the brand. That's right. That's some of the motivation of why we started, myself and my partner, FA, why we started the clothing brand, Live for the Day. It's like, chase that goal, chase that dream. Tomorrow's not promised. Next year ain't promised. The next minute's not promised. Mm-hmm. So whatever that goal, that dream is, go. Like, go do it. Go get it done. Don't take no for an answer. Don't let nobody stop you. You know what I mean? Live for the day. Like that's my message to everybody. Live for the day. That if you listen to this podcast right now, go chase after that dream, that goal, that whatever, that job, that degree, wherever level you at. There's something that everybody wants. You know, we all have different aspirations. Whatever that is for you, go get it. It's possible. It's here. Life is like a game. It's like a big ass board game. We're just trying to figure out what's the next move. It's like playing Monopoly. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to put together a strategy to win this. You know what I'm saying? So like that's how I look at it. Just make the right moves. You know what I mean? Make the right moves in this game of life, and you'll have a chance. There's no promises, but you'll have a chance. So just put yourself in position to have a chance.
Maybe it speaks to kind of where we're at as a society, but people don't want to put the work in. They don't want to take the sacrifice and sleep on the floor. They don't want to stay up until 4 a.m. editing a podcast because you want to put out 2 a week. And you just got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Like even little things like that, like me sitting here editing a pod, it's not that much work, honestly. But people don't want to take that little extra step, do what they need to do to actually be successful. They want to be like, oh, I'm going to dip my toe in the water. All right, it's not working. I'm done.
Yep. It's the microwave society. Everybody just wants to, warm it up for a few minutes and all right, it's done. Nah, man, let that thing marinate, season it up a little bit, put it in the oven, put it on 350. Like just wait about an hour and just take the time. It'll be better in the end. You know what I'm saying? And now you're right. It's tough. And that's the negative side of social media where we see so much content of other people's lives and people, showing you one side of their lives and it's looking like so magical and perfect and great. So now as society, especially as us millennials, we're like, man, like I want that life now. I want it now. Or this person did this. And it's like, listen, man, comparison is the thief of joy. And I got that from one of my guys, my OG, Marcellus Wiley. And it's true, man. When you always comparing yourself to somebody else or what they're doing, it's going to always take away your joy. You know what I mean? Because you're always going to see somebody that's making a little bit more money than you or has some better car, better home, better girl than you, whatever the case it may be. But it's like, bro, be content with where you're at, with what you have. And if you want more, grind after it, go for it, but go for it because you want it. Don't do it because you're looking at what they're doing over there because you don't really know the full story. You know what I'm saying? Their Instagram, people, most of the time, they don't really show you the negative side for the most part. They show you what they want you to see, and we're all guilty of that. Like if you're out on vacation in Spain or Mexico or something like that, you're going to take a picture so you can kind of flex, show people where you're at. You're not going to show people that, hey, rent is due in a couple of days and my account says, 0. I don't know how I'm gonna get. Like, you're not gonna show that. People don't like to be vulnerable because we are in a world where people will take advantage of you. So I get it. I'm not suggesting that you should put all your business out there. But my point is, as humans, as millennials, we have to use social media and look at everything with a grain of salt and understand that, okay, this is cool what they're doing, and I love what they're doing. I wish them nothing but success, but I don't have to down myself in what I'm doing because I'm not where they're at, especially when you don't understand the full story. So,
and those are my favorite types of people, though, outside of like sports and athletes, whatever. My favorite people to talk to are the ones that actually show vulnerability, show their true selves instead of putting on some like poser face. Like I know somebody, I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah.
You'll ask them like what they're doing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's like, bro, just what are we doing? Just tell me what you're doing. And you know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's my biggest pet peeve is people that think they're too cool to show emotion or something like that. I know that's kind of off topic, but
No, I know what you mean. Hey, authenticity, man, is what I try to lean on. You know, just be real. That's all I say. Be real, be authentic, be whoever you are, and live with it. People are going to judge you regardless. So you might as well just be you, because no one else can be you better than you. So that's my mindset.
Hey, I think that's the perfect way to end this.
There it is.
I gotta wrap this thing up, man. But I really appreciate you coming on. Indie guy through and through. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. All the best to you. Hopefully one day you get your own show on Fox Sports and you're the man.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate that, man. You keep doing your thing. For any new viewers who are interested in following my journey, you can follow me on social media at Darnell_Smith 95. I also have my own podcast as well called The Porch Podcast. You can follow us on IG at The Porch Podcast_. We just signed a deal with Caffeine. It's a live streaming platform where our show will be dropping every week. Right now, it'll be on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So tune in, man. You know, doing a lot of big things. And hey, man, I appreciate you being on this podcast. Had a good time.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right, you too.